Powered by Riverside.
Hey yo, welcome to another edition of Hey Yo with D Shelton. I am the host of this show, podcast, whatever you want to call it, Delrico Shelton. As always, please like, share, and subscribe to Hey Yo with D Shelton on Spotify, Apple, iHeartRadios. Like, share, subscribe. And as you can hear from the intro, thank you, Riverside FM, for giving me the ability to get this face and this voice throughout the masses via Spotify, Apple, and iHeartRadio. If you want to do your own podcast, look them up, riverside.fm, and they can do what they do for you. Um, I'm gonna give a couple shout outs. Like I said, shout out to Unique Hoops Basketball Academy, Winchester, Virginia. Shout out to Finest Magazine. Shout out to My Mind on Sports. Shout out to Focus TV. Enough with the shout outs. Let's get kind of serious. I had a whole platform for you all on a totally different subject. But that got pushed to the side. Man, because when we woke up Saturday morning, news came down that the United States of America has did a quote unquote preemptive strike on Iraq. So Donald Trump decided, along with the country in the Middle East that caused all the problems, Israel, decided to go ahead and do once again a preemptive strike. There's no such thing. That's propaganda. So don't let CNN, Fox, ABC, CBS, MSNBC, what's going to be MSN now, say preemptive. No, you struck. Okay, you struck. There is no such thing as preemptive. Stop that shit. Matter of fact, I'm going to give Fox News credit. I'm about to correct myself. Fox News actually said attack. They didn't say no preemptive strike. They didn't say none of that bullshit. And what I'm kind of bamboozled with, behooved, perplexed, is that Iran was in the process of, well, what should we say? What's the word I'm looking for? Negotiate them not having nuclear weapons. It's just amazing to me that when it comes to brown and black countries, somehow the Western civilization don't want those countries to have bombs, the nuclear kind. If you know, you know. It's a weird thing. Maybe because the Western civilization has put so much hell on the rest of the earth, but that's a whole different topic for a different day. Um, I'm going to let something play. This is from TikTok. Um, I'm gonna give the person credit after. Well, just listen to what he got to say on this because he hit this perfect.
Who knew it would turn out this way? How could we have predicted that a draft dodger who went out of his way to not serve this country would easily put the lives of service members in danger? Who knew? Who could have seen that a guy who literally called people who have served this country, suckers and losers, would easily and callously play with their lives. Who could have seen that happen? Who could have predicted that a dude who lied about a pandemic that cost 1 million people their lives would put more American citizens' lives in danger? I don't even know how we could have seen that coming at all. Who would have thought that a bunch of dumb as fuck podcasters who had no knowledge of military strategy or politics would also give a platform to another idiot who has no knowledge of politics or military strategy, and that platform that they gave him would backfire on millions upon millions of citizens? It's befuddling. How? Who knew that a dude whose own chief of staff said that he was a dangerous person and should be nowhere near power? Who knew that ignoring that general and putting that dude back in power would turn out this way? Who knew? We were told by two four-star generals that that guy is a danger to society and the most dangerous thing to America, and millions of people would ignore that, ignore the general, ignore the people who knew what they were talking about, no military strategy, and have literally protected this country. Who would know that ignoring those generals, ignoring those warnings, and giving power to a draft-dodging coward liar would turn out this way? Who would have known that millions of y'all who said, well, I don't care that he's corrupt, I don't care that he's a criminal, I don't care about the pedo stuff, I don't care about the attacks, I don't care about none of that, because he's not going to get us to any more wars. Who would have known that that guy would get us into more wars? Who would have known that the guy who campaigned on I ended more wars, period, would actually be the person that has us in more conflict? Who knew that a former TV show host who had no government experience before he got the job the first time would also hire another TV show host to run the military, even though he had nowhere near the experience of the four-star general that he replaced in that job, and who also has a drinking problem? Who would have known that those two liars who had no experience would bomb this place previously and say the reason why they bombed that place was to make sure that we had no future problems, and they're now bombing that place again because first reason they did it work? I don't even know where we at now. This is all so surprising. There's no way we could have seen this coming at all.
That was courtesy of Ty Barnett on TikTok. You know what I mean? His page is titled, "This is the bullshit I'm talking about." It's usually up top when he speaks. He's funny and dead on. This is what we get when we deal with fuckery. Their supreme leader, Ali Khamenei, is gone. Iran has now struck military bases in the region that belong to the United States. Qatar, Saudi Arabia, and others. And they said they're going to keep coming. Benjamin Netanyahu, this is rumor, it's alleged that he was floating around in his version of Air Force One all through Israel airspace trying to land. They told him don't do it for obvious reasons, because now they're threatening to get bombed and have been bombed. So ironically, he was allowed to land in Germany. The jokes keep writing themselves. A Jewish leader from Poland, by the way, ends up landing in Germany, place of the Holocaust, for protection. Go figure that. Now, they did get the supreme leader, and yes, there are people, Iranians, that are happy, and there's others that are upset. This is supposed to be the no wars president. He has struck Iran twice. By the way, if you supposedly got rid of all the nuclear capability on the first strike. What was it? I want to say March of last year. March of last year. Let's just put it 2025. Let's just say 2025, middle of 2025. And said, we got rid of all the capabilities. But you turn around early Saturday morning, Friday night, and bomb them again for basically the same thing. That tells me you lied or just incompetent. Let's just say what it is, stupid, and didn't hit anything. See, and then I've seen people online say some of the dumbest shit over and over and over again because they think that Iran can attack the United States. Do you all know how far Iran is from the United States? There's a whole ocean. A whole ocean to get to the United States. That means if the United States is not able to defend itself from Iran with a whole ocean, and if they go east, they have several different continents. I'm sorry, not continents. There's a whole lot of countries to fly over that way. And then they have to go across the Pacific Ocean. So you either going to have to cross a bunch of countries in the Pacific Ocean or fly across the Atlantic Ocean to get to the United States in the traditional sense. Are we great yet? It's amazing to me that the 92% black women and the 80% black men that voted for Kamala Harris, we saw all this bullshit coming. And now a lot of you all are MAGA, just conservatives. Like, I didn't vote for this. Yes, the fuck you did. Let's be crystal clear. Yes, you did. It had nothing to do with the economy because the economy was growing under Biden. And once again, I never understood why would you want a 6-time bankruptcy to run your fucking money? That's not a successful businessman. When you go down the line of Donald Trump's businesses, they all fail. The reason why he's able to have the money he is because banks keep loaning him money. He fluctuates the value of his properties or things like that. So the banks keep getting the money. Do y'all realize that barely a bank in the United States will, before he became president, would loan him any fucking thing? That's why he had to go to banks overseas. But you all keep doing this. See, I must say once again, your racism, your misogyny, your sexism, your xenophobia caused you to vote for this man not once, not twice, but 3 times. The third time was basically an open book test. You failed. The extreme left, or I'll call Blue MAGA, who hollered about Palestine, Gaza, Palestine. How's that working out again? Because if the black woman, Kamala Harris, was in office, none of this would happen. So fuck you with that. They're both sides of the same coin. No. It doesn't work that way. I am a firm believer now that the Israel government has control over the United States government. That's just a theory. It's alleged in my eyes. It can't be because you can't be this dumb. And granted, you got their supreme leader, but you hit an elementary school for girls, killing, the last I checked, 85 young women. And let me be perfectly clear. With the capabilities that you could find the supreme leader in his home, that tells me, and by the precision, that you can find anything. See, I am I am not one of those proponents, those people that's going to say, oh, when they hit the school, it was accident. No, it wasn't. Because to stop and destabilize a country, you stop them from producing. This is what Israel does to the people of Palestine, Gaza, to be exact. Speaking of Gaza, it's ironic that they're going to build, what was it, 40 or 50 soccer stadiums in the place that Israel basically turned to rubble, and FIFA's going to allow it. Subject for a different time. I don't think that was a mistake for them hitting that elementary school with them girls. Cowardly. You're going after children. So yeah, I might be wrong. I hope I'm wrong, but my gut feeling says I'm not. You stop a people from producing, and therefore you can control and destabilize a country. Now, Mr. Ty also mentioned some podcast bros. I'm going to play you a clip from the Ebro, Law, and Rosenberg show. This clip is beautiful to me. Want to hear it? Here you go.
I'm curious to see if you run into, because I know occasionally, not very often, you can occasionally run into Andrew Schultz. He now has said he's like fully out on everything that's happening, and he's did not ever think it could go this way. And I don't think he's lying in how he feels about it. I think he's being truthful that he's really disturbed by it. You didn't think we could get here, which means you had faith in this country and this government that we would never get here, despite people telling you that this is where it's going. So you had more faith in the government, in the marketing, than you did in human beings who were being affected or knew the history of this nation. So you're giving those people a lot of credit and saying they must have really just believed something positive. Okay, so then it was a grift. So you knew it had potential, and so you just decided to ignore that for the sake of the grift, because now you got to sell out your Madison Square Gardens. You got your Hitler haircut. You got your Hitler mustache. You jumped on stage at the Garden, sold a bunch of tickets. You and Charlemagne did your podcast and did all your song and dance. You did all your things, got your clicks and got your likes. And so now the new grift is, I'm going to apologize. That's what I think it is.
I just feel like, just to excuse it, I was like, oh, I'm just going to interview him. No, he was spewing this pro-Trump rhetoric before this. So it's like leading up to it. So, and whoever else is on the show was like, ha, they would just laugh about it and entertain it. And it led to them getting that Trump interview.
Well,
and now my bad, all while people's lives are being destroyed. People are scared because their aunt could get taken, their mothers, their children. Like, it's bad, guys.
And didn't Trump always say, day one, we're going to have the biggest deportation.
Yes.
We're going to round up 2 million. We're going to write, he said 11 million, and he said 21 million once of them. And he was like, there's 20 million illegal people. And I was like, 20? Do you know what 20 million people get rounded up? Do you know what that is? And most people don't know what that looks like. So that means you're an effing idiot because you heard these crazy numbers and you didn't take it serious. Or you're so jaded by talking crazy on the internet and watching the internet that you were like, he's just talking. It's not going to happen.
It doesn't matter. Why would you be okay with that talk?
Why would you be okay with that talk? Would you interview Andrew Schultz?
I don't believe he's evil and wants to spread evil, but he made choices where he put his own success of his podcast ahead of the well-being of his fellow Americans. So, I don't know. It's the same way I feel about Charlemagne. I think, there are certain things that he does that I'm like, oh my God, how? But at the same time, I don't think Charlemagne's heart is terrible and he wants bad things to happen to people, but he does things that make me go, how could you do that in that moment? I'm curious to see.
Laura, Peter, and Ebro are all right. See, you remember way back when, and it still happens to this day, that somehow, some way, we as black people, I'm speaking of my people, because I'm a black man that was born in America. Know the difference. They used to say that all our leaders were celebrities, sports people, blah, 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 blah. But this group of people are listening to podcast bros for their information, for their go ahead and vote for this motherfucker. I would never forgive Andrew Schultz, Joe Rogan, and others of that ilk. Because you put a buffoon on camera and speak to your audience. Again, as I said in my last podcast, with black conservatives online and stuff, the grift is there. This is about money to them. And now that they're trying to backtrack, I didn't think it was happening. What you mean you ain't think all this was going to happen? Do you remember COVID, where his buffoonery allowed 1 million Americans to die? And a lot of maggots, MAGA, and conservatives are like, I'm sorry, I voted for it. You voted for this motherfucker 3 times. You had a whole decade of information. Senator, what was it? I want to say John Kelly. One of his chief of staffs, Mr. Kelly, I can't remember his first name, said this man was dangerous. See, you all have a problem with experts telling you all something because you think you know more than the expert. If I had Bill Belichick in front of me for football, Pat Riley for basketball, just to throw it out there, and I got these guys right in front of me giving me information, while I'm listening to somebody who ain't player coach, come on, son. I keep telling you, I spoke on this before. You don't think Kamala Harris and the Biden administration had information on what this Bama was going to do? You had a playbook called Project 2025, a 900-page document that showed you what was going to happen. He ain't going to do it. He did what he said the first fucking time. See, the difference is now you all are seeing it because black people, the 92% of black women, the 80% of black men, we ain't out in these streets. We are chilling. Like, go ahead, y'all got it. And now you seeing firsthand because there's no us to complain. We're going about our natural lives like it's nothing. To be honest, that's what we're doing. Straight up. We don't, you act like every time we tell you all the truth that something is wrong. And then we turn out that we're right, you still try to ignore the bullshit that's in front of you. Renee Good was supposed to be a black woman that died. Alex Preddy is supposed to be a black man because you're so conditioned to seeing us die. So now the man that said that swears up and down he wants a Nobel Peace Prize says no new wars. Why is it every time since Ronald Reagan, every time there's a Republican in the highest office in the land, there's always a problem that we have to go send troops overseas to the Middle East? It's a constant playbook because every time that they are fucking up, which is a lot, they go ahead and start some bull crap. in the Middle East. Ronald Reagan did it. Bush Volume 1 did it. Bush Volume 2 did it. And Donald Trump's doing it. Anything to hide the Epstein files, right? Anything to hide them files. Those files for him over, 38,000 times, might be more, allegedly. Those files must be a bitch. They must be. Now, I'm going to play another clip real quick. They say this is AI. I'm starting to think this might not be AI at all.
Not releasing the Epstein files. Fuck Marjorie Taylor Greene. I don't care what you do. Start a fucking war. Just don't let him get out. If I go down, I will bring all of you down.
Supposed to be AI though.
Are you feeling all right? I feel great. I was shouting at people because they were stupid about something. Not really.
That's allegedly. It's AI. I don't know. Those files must be terrible to start a whole war. So MAGA and conservatives, send your kids over there. Since you worship this man, send your kids over there. Send them over there to die. Send them over there to die. Because this right here, for all my black people, if you already enlisted, I know. But for the youth that's listening to me right now, don't put your John Hancock on nothing when it comes to armed forces. Not now. You know why? Because you're going to be over there. And your family will mourn your death. Iran does not play. People tend to think that Iran is small. Iran has got 92 million people. It's the size of Texas, basically. I'm talking about geographical wise. And let me be very clear. I'm thinking that the only way the United States can do some real damage, because you got to see Iran's terrain. They can't put boots on the ground in Iran. That's out. They'll get slaughtered. And I'm speaking of the U.S. Armed Forces. The terrain is too hectic, too hilly, too deserty, too mountainy. This is why they got to try to bomb it. Speaking of which, they also need ammunition. And if I recall, there's a certain country that Ronald Reagan cut a deal with, and they're now the number one manufacturing country in the world that we also got a problem with. It's called China. Do you think they're going to send those to help? And speaking of which, trying to find the correct there we go. I found it. For those that's wondering what I'm looking for, prepare your gas to go up considerably come next week. Iran doesn't need a nuclear bomb. They have the Strait of Hormuz. If you don't know, 20 to 30% of the oil reserves come through this strait, and it's controlled by Iran. All they need to do is shoot one ship down if they wanted to. One. Everything changes. They have the upper hand when it comes to oil and transportation of that oil. Go ahead and look it up. they're not going to let anybody through. So Europe is screwed. That means you can get the oil. You just got to go all the way around Mother Africa to do it. It should take weeks, if not months. Prepare for your oil to go up. So the president that swore up and down he's going to lower prices, then turned around and said, I don't think I can. He said that in a month within his presidency. He's about to cause you all, not only with the inflation, because, the State of the Union, he lied saying everything was down. Your gas is about to go up. See, Iran has way more ammunition than just bullets and missiles. They can just stop everything. I'm going to play another clip of somebody else on TikTok. And I know what y'all saying, like, God dang it. Rico, you're playing.
Most people don't
You playing the whole,
know this, but there's a spot in Canada.
Oh my bad with one part. I didn't mean to hit that. I follow this brother, right? I follow this brother on TikTok. He graduated from Harvard. Davion Tatum. I would suggest y'all do as well, because he gives you real information. He's not a journalist, but he uses critical thinking skills. So I'm gonna let him talk to you all right now.
The American people want health care. The American people want affordable housing. The American people want to be able to afford groceries and have clean water and clean air, but instead this administration is dragging the American people into another conflict, another war that the American people did not ask for, that the American people do not want. Iran is now saying they're planning to carry out the largest attack in their history in response to the strikes that were taken against them earlier today. And another reason why Congress has the power to declare war and not the president is because members of Congress, have to go back to their school gymnasiums. They have to go back to their community churches. They have to go back to their town hall meetings and speak to their constituents face to face. Speak to the people whose children they're trying to send off to war. Speak to the people who they represent and explain to them how they voted to spend their tax dollars, how they voted to send them or their children off to fight a conflict in a different country. They have to take accountability in the face of their constituents in a way that the president does not have to do. And that is why members of Congress are the ones given the responsibility and the power to declare war, because usually they are more directly and closely connected to the communities and people that it impacts than that of the president. But we saw members of Congress no longer want to do town hall meetings or canceled them completely because they were upset that their constituents were voicing their opinions and grievances against how they were representing them. They were upset at their constituents for using their First Amendment right to speak out. They were upset at their constituents for wanting them to not capitulate to this administration. So they stopped doing town hall meetings. They stopped showing up for the people. So the question I keep saying of where is Congress is a great one, because they should be representing the people. The American.
Once again, that's Davion Tatum. Very educated brother. Where's Congress? Oh, my bad. Senate was, I think they were on vacation while he did this. And when they vote on it, and hopefully stop, because remember, the Republican Party, who bows down to him, control the House, the Senate, and also the judiciary. As looking at, remembering the State of the Union speech and looking at a good portion of the Supreme Court, but basically gave him almost king-like powers as long as it's within his quote-unquote duties. Yeah, I think they realized they messed up. They realize it now. The 92%, we already knew. I'm speaking of black women, 80% me, black men, we already knew. You want health care. Your tax dollars are going to Israel and war. Every time, once again, it's been a Republican. They send your children, young men and women, across seas to fight. For what? What is the purpose of this? This whole thing has nothing to do with the United States. Zero. This is about Israel flexing their might. Those files must be terrible, boy. On Democrat and Republican alike. Especially the one that's supposedly head of our nation. I can't stand none of you all that voted for this man. You had a decade. A man who was found guilty of 34 felony counts. Liable for sexual assault. And in those files, doing heinous acts to children. And you all still voted him in for supposedly cheaper eggs and cheaper gas. And you got neither. But what you do got now is gas is about to go up. He wants now a ceasefire. If I'm Iran, fuck your ceasefire. And anybody over there, because Saudi Arabia is now like, hey man, we need to do something about Iran. No. Your mans and the ones down below Israel started this shit. Netanyahu has been saying Iran for the past over 30 years. It's the same fucking playbook. And there was a deal in place that Barack Obama had with Iran. And Donald Trump ripped it up, being the narcissistic sociopath that he is. That man, Barack Obama, is living rent-free in Donald Trump's head because Barack Obama was better than him. A black man is better than him. So he has a whole lot of what you all call DEI, that y'all forget the A. A whole bunch of these knuckleheads and dumbasses throughout his cabinet. None of them are qualified for any of the jobs that they have. Not one. And I'm going to say this one more time. When the Democratic Party has, he's going to, by the way, Donald Trump's going to try some finagling to make sure that the midterm elections don't happen. Hence why we are possibly in a war. Well, we're going to war. Warlike acts. But he's trying to finish the grift and do what he want to do, being having authoritarianism. I can't even say it. Basically fascism, with him being numero uno. He wants the midterm elections not to happen because he knows that if the Democrats take care of the House and the Senate, he's done. He and his crew are done. But then again, as long as Chuck Schumer and Nancy Pelosi around, they might not be. Got to protect that seat. Tradition and all. This is why the war is happening within the Democratic Party. A lot of people don't know it's the youngs, it's Gen X and the youngins versus the baby boomers. And right now, as you saw with the State of the Union, the baby boomers, a couple of them are on the youngin' side. But this respectability politics and the traditional stuff, that's out that's out the window. Heads, if the Democratic Party, which they should, get power, heads should roll, prosecute everybody. Go back to the table with Iran and say, my bad. NATO, China, Venezuela, all these countries that Donald Trump and this administration has basically screwed over, you better get on your apology tour. Because as of right now, America's isolated. Whether you want to believe it or not, America's isolated. America does not have any real friends right now because of this man, who I have said openly is the Antichrist. So for all you all, I'm sorry, I didn't think this was going to happen, but you voted for him 3 times. To hell with you. I can't rock with y'all apology. You better do the work because you let a whole bunch of bull crap come into play, and now America's at war again. Well, thank you for listening to my TED Talk. Once again, before I get out of here, I'd like to thank Riverside.fm for giving me the ability to get this face and this voice to you via Spotify, Apple, iHeartRadio. Also, you can look me up, AOD Shelton, on both Instagram and TikTok, mostly TikTok. Also, I have my own website. Well, I'm sorry, not website, excuse me. Used to. I got rid of it. House cleaning stuff. But YouTube, you're going to see this episode and others on my YouTube channel. Just look up Hey Yo with D Shelton on YouTube. Pretty soon I'm going to go live with a lot of stuff so I can get you all to talk to me a lot better than, polls and stuff like that. But once again, this administration has brought the United States of America in another war and put all of our lives in danger. And he had the nerve that said there will be some casualties. Then send your punk ass kids over there, Donald. You can't make this up. This is America. Let me be out. As always, as I always tell you all, may Father and the ancestors take care of you, your loved ones, or anybody else you care about. I see y'all when I see y'all. Stay moisturized. Peace.